Well, faith is not about having it all figured out. Hey, this is Matt Peoples here with your Missionary Pathway Mission Insight. And this one has always been one that is close to my heart. When I was church planting in Knoxville, Tennessee, I realized that we couldn't put on the biggest and best worship service ever. And that probably wasn't even something good for me to promise. But one thing I could promise was that people could text in their questions every single week. Why? Because at the heart of what I wanted people to know, I wanted people to understand that faith is not about having it all figured out. In fact, faith is not about what you know, it's about who you know. See, faith is about a relationship with Jesus. It's not a test that you have to get a certain amount of answers right. It's not about how much or how little of the Bible you know. Faith begins not by what you know, but by who you know and who you're known by. Jesus. And like any relationship, you're going to grow in your understanding of who the person of Jesus is. And there is actually room to grow. That's why faith is not just about not having it all figured out, but it's a spot where there's always room to grow. And so that's why it's so important for people to understand that faith is not about this complete understanding. In fact, when you read through the Gospels, you're sometimes amazed when you see just how little the disciples seem to know. In fact, Jesus spends so much time telling the disciples that he has to go to the cross, and yet when he goes to the cross, it seems like they're surprised. They feel like they're defeated, even though this was the game plan that Jesus had always laid out from the very beginning. The reality is the disciples didn't have it all figured out, but they knew who they were connected to. They were connected to Jesus. And because they were connected to Jesus, there was room for them to grow in their understanding of who Jesus was, what he came to do, and what that meant for their lives. And if there was room for them to grow in their understanding of who Jesus is, there's room for you to grow too. Because faith isn't about having it all figured out. In fact, it's okay to have questions. And I think sometimes in faith, when people have questions, they think to themselves that that means they have doubt. And if they have doubt, they don't have faith. But the reality is this: if you believe in a God powerful enough to create everything, powerful enough to put on human flesh, come into the world, to live for you, to die for you, and then rise from the dead, guess what? That's a God who's so big, he's always going to leave you with moments where you have questions. In fact, in theology, we have a popular teaching. It's about the hidden and the revealed God, which teaches this: there are aspects about God that you just can't know. And then there's other aspects about God that he makes known to you, the revealed God. See, we have to have this doctrine because God is so big, we realize that there will always be questions. But it's okay to have questions because faith is not about having it all figured out. And so I hope this mission insight was helpful for you. Just remember, if you have questions, dig into them. Find somebody you can dig into them with. In fact, if we can ever help you with that, check out theKairosNetwork.com. It's a great place to go to reach out, to connect with us, and to get some of those questions answered. Or you can even check out Church at 1002. It's a great place where you can dig into scriptures and learn who this God is and what he has for your life. And then finally, if you want to learn how you can share your faith, check out missionarypathway.org. So I hope these resources are helpful for you. And if there's anything we can do for you, don't ever hesitate to reach out.